Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of the world's most talented people, and we've got one for you today. Carly Paoli, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. On a beautiful hot day, what's not to be?
And here we are in a posh hotel, and you have this delicious new album. You are so talented and so beautiful. You've really got everything, haven't you?
My mother wouldn't say that, so I don't think I can say that either. But I'm having a wonderful time doing exactly what I've loved and dreamt of doing for a long time.
How have we not met? We live about 5 minutes apart and we've never spoken before.
I know, that's crazy. And I've moved sort of closer to London now because obviously I work in the city. I've got Italian roots, so I spend a lot of time in the south of Italy, Puglia. But I was at my grandmother's house yesterday getting some home cooking, so you never know. Next time I'll let you know when I'm at Gran's.
We should. And you're from Mansfield, which is this beautiful place of really authentic, real people. And I wonder how you go from that to being one of the greatest classical singers ever. You're this beautiful Mezzo Soprano. You've got this incredible rich voice. Tell us about the voice. You were born with it. You can't be trained with that, can you?
I always say it's, you get gifts from God, so I always think it's important to sort of play back and do good where you can there. But my father was a lorry driver. My mother worked in Thomas Cook in Mansfield, and they are not musical one little bit, bless them. I wouldn't wish for anybody to have to hear them sing. But I was very blessed to be awarded scholarships to study in some fantastic musical institutes, and actually one of the things that I've been doing around the Mansfield area and all the Nottinghamshire area at the moment is I've been going back into schools and doing musical programs, because it's quite sad at the moment that music's very underfunded in state schools, and that's a shame because it's a time that you really discover who you are.
Yeah, it is sad, and I guess that unless you're given some form of chance or some form of backing or funding, you're never going to make it to the level you have. You must have a lot of people to thank to be sat here today.
Absolutely, and it all came down to sort of one person recognising, me performing in the school Nativity. My first performance was at 5 years old at Carter Lane School in Mansfield, and I was a star in the Nativity. And I insisted on singing Up on the Roof.
Right.
Why? I wanted to sing that song, but thank goodness my teacher embraced that moment, and that was all the start for me. So it would be such a shame if schools stopped doing that.
This is the uncomfortable bit now where I say things that you're going to deny. But were you always special? Did people always know that you had a gift above the average singer in the school choir?
Yeah, I was the noisiest in the school choir. I think I spent such a lot of time mimicking, and I was quite an unusual child, and I was fascinated by the MGM musicals. My mother bought me Singing in the Rain, and it's still my favourite song today. And I had stacks of, Gigi and High Society. I had all of the MGMs, and that was something that really inspired me to pursue the career that I'm living today.
And from junction 28 of the M1, you've ended up travelling the world. I mean, you've performed everywhere. Just take us through a few of the places that have blown your mind, because they're quite incredible, some of them.
It still feels like pinch me every time I step on stage, but some of the highlights have been Terme di Caracalla, which is the ancient Roman baths. I performed in the heart of the Roman Forum, and that was a special concert in honour of Pope Francis's Catholic Jubilee. Carnegie Hall in New York, Boston Hall, Jordan Hall in Boston, the O2 Arena. There's a real mixture there. Yet to perform in Nottinghamshire, I have to say, that's a problem.
Which is ridiculous. To think you haven't played the concert hall is bizarre.
They've not invited me back yet, which I'm a bit upset about.
And then we look at this new CD, which is just incredible. And what you've done is very clever. You've mixed the new with the old. You've made it accessible, which I always think is so important. And if we look at what Russell's done, you've got to make it accessible to normal people. And you've done that by putting so many songs we recognise, whether it be Nella Fantasia, the medley you did of Disney, which was interesting. Was that deliberate to make it as accessible as possible?
It was the first chance for me because it was my own concert, and I'd got the most incredible orchestra with me. They really were the cream of London musicians, which was really special to have. And it was a chance for me to be who I am and just show my musical influences. I mean, I first fell in love with music when I watched The Little Mermaid. and I used to sing all of the characters, including the crab, in a Jamaican accent.
Under the sea.
I did. That's the one. So it was bringing all of that back, because Alan Menken, he creates these gorgeous symphonic sounds, and it's all music that's to be celebrated. And I found that the audience often had the same love and passion for those songs as what I did too.
And you can't doubt their success. These are the operas of today, aren't they? People watch them over and over again and pay good money to see these shows.
Yeah, and opera was always for the masses. I mean, sometimes now it can be sort of seen as an elitist kind of art, and that's completely not true. Puccini composed for the masses, right, as Alan Menken does or Andrew Lloyd Webber does today.
Tell me about the accent. I mean, you've got a slight advantage because you're half Mansfield, half Italian, so I suppose speaking Italian is a bit easier, but getting it right is so important, because if not, it just becomes ludicrous, doesn't it?
Yes, it does, and I sort of, for me, one of the first things that I fall in love with a song are the lyrics. They're always sort of the part that draws me to wanting to perform something the most, because of the message that particular song delivers. So it really upsets me when I start to lose some of the lyrics. I'm always the one, what did they say? What did they say? What's the message? So yeah, that's quite important to me that you get that right.
Could we ever see you in a play or an opera? Are you tempted by that to leave your solo concert?
As I said, I was hugely inspired by people like Judy Garland in the MGM musicals. So I spent a number of years studying musical theatre, which is, primarily acting, dancing, and yes, absolutely, I'd love to go back to that world at some point.
Talk to me about the feeling of having that orchestra behind you on this new CD. I mean, it must be amazing. Most people these days work to track. They might have a drummer and a guitarist and the rest is on CD. They might have a pianist if they're lucky. You have this glorious live orchestra. There can't be a better feeling, can there?
There's something really magical. I think even for somebody that's never had a classical music experience, or they think I don't love classical music, I'd urge anybody to go and hear a live orchestra, because it's one of the richest, it's one of the sounds that really fills you up in here, and to have all of that with you and be performing with you. And the evening was conducted by Stephen Mercurio. He's a Grammy Award winning conductor and composer, and he just really commanded them in the most lovely way, and we were all in perfect harmony, which is a beautiful feeling.
For you, is that the magical moment when it all comes together, the lighting, the sound, the costume, and there you are, pin focus, and it's all about you? How do you deal with the pressure? Because you've got to deliver. If you don't sound like you, we're going to ask for our money back, aren't we?
There's always kind of a moment where, you start to get the nerves, but that's where I've got my mum to say, shut up and get on with it. You've spent enough time practicing this. I'm not taking you to all these places for you to start getting cold feet now. Get on with your job. Everybody else does. And I think, yes, you get the nerves, but then after the first sort of minute of being out there on stage and realizing what a wonderful career I've had the chance to be a part of, you just embrace it all.
You're still young. I mean, you've got it all in front of you. I was talking to Leslie Garrett last week, and funnily enough, she was saying she feels her voice is even better than it's ever been. I guess you're really still at the beginning of your career. What are your dreams? What are your aims? What's next?
To be able to reach more audiences, to be able to perform more new material. It's been really special on my last album to, yes, like in this Cadogan Hall concert, to perform the stuff that's influenced me, but then to take those influences and create something new with them. And that's something I've really enjoyed doing. And I write lyrics as well, so that's sort of become quite a part of the creative journey, and it is evident there on my first album, Singing My Dreams.
Beautiful. And then we go to the end of the album, and again you've put in so many songs that people will instantly recognise and love. Is there any nerves about recreating a song like Over the Rainbow or something like that, where they've heard it and now you're recreating it? It's got to be as good as they remember it.
There's something about some songs that, Over the Rainbow could mean a lot of different things just depending on how it was sang. I always listen to Judy Garland singing it as you hear it in The Wizard of Oz originally, and then you hear a performance of it at Carnegie Hall live, and it has a very different message. And that message for me that night in Cadogan Hall was, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true, and it's absolutely true. Sometimes they really can.
Did you always know you were going to be a star and make it? Because it's all very well having belief. We see it all the time on X Factor where people believe they're talented but actually they're not. Did you always inside you know that you had to keep fighting on? Because you need determination, don't you, to succeed in this business?
Yeah, it's a burning passion, and I don't think I could have done anything else. I can't imagine what I would have done if I wasn't a singer. Which sort of brings me on to the last track of the album. It's a bonus track called Liberty, and that's something that's sort of been released already. It's a song that I've done featuring the Invictus Games Choir, and the proceeds will be going to Help for Heroes. So, I mean, this is a year that we sort of recognise 100 years since the end of World War I, and the song it's a very poignant lyric. It was composed by Walter Afanasieff. He's a 20 Grammy Award winner, and he worked on songs like My Heart Will Go On and All I Want for Christmas Is You. And for me, the Invictus Games Choir completely embody the lyric, because they're testament to a group of people that had to change their lives because something devastating happened. Right. But they've come through the other side, and they brought so much more to the song than I ever could, because actually they had that experience and it meant so much more to them. So it's really special to have them sing on that with me. And
it's such an emotional track because you can just see the bravery within it. I mean, the song's about bravery and strength and fortitude, and of course the people that you're representing embody that, don't they? Yeah,
they absolutely do. And I never really realised how emotional it would have been. We recorded the song together at the Strong Room Studios in Shoreditch, and we all piled into this little studio and had a fantastic day, and that's the day that features on the official music video. But what you don't see on the music video is the first time that we actually sang that song together, and people in the choir were crying. And that's because the lyrics, meant so much to them and completely sort of depicted elements of their life and what they'd come through. But I suppose we'd all found that common ground in music as a healing process and a way to celebrate the good things that are there.
You're so gifted and talented. I'm always in awe of people who have worked on their craft and mastered it. I wonder what your day's like. Do you obsess over what you eat and drink and what you do and don't do and who you sit with and who's sneezing next to you, or do you just get on with it?
You can't do that. I mean, I think sort of when I was first doing some of the big gigs, I started thinking, oh my goodness, I think that man's got a cold, and you just you can't wrap yourself in cotton wool. It's impossible. So yes, you look after yourself and you get plenty of rest, and I take my Manuka honey everywhere with me. That's one of my favourite things before a performance. But otherwise it's just rehearsal. My day-to-day is waking up, I'll do the gym, and then I'll spend 2 or 3 hours singing with my coach, and that's how days go out until it's time to do the next performance.
And I think people forget the voice is a very small part of the success. The physicality is also important too. The beauty is one thing, but also being physically able to rise to the challenge of these songs is not easy. And I guess having the energy to get to the end of these numbers is the key, and that's presumably why you go to the gym.
Yeah, some arias are really physically exhausting, and it's kind of all the intercostal muscles that are working and the breathing mechanism. They are quite demanding, and they're mentally quite taxing as well to keep the concentration levels, but it's so rewarding when you get it right.
Congratulations on this new album. It's available now. You can see clips as well of that Help for Heroes single, which is on YouTube. Just put in Carly Paoli and it'll come up there. Congratulations on the Cadogan album as well. You're so talented and gifted. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.